You were married at the time?
I was married at the
Yeah.
time,
Okay.
yes. And so, yeah,
Let me.
there was a lot of late nights.
So I'm going to take a leap here, but I think this is your father.
Oh,
Is this him?
yeah.
And this is impressive. This is his obituary.
Oh,
He died 11 years ago. But you have to fill in the blanks here. And then your grandmother as well.
yes,
Okay.
Gigi.
But Mike invented and reinvented himself in business time and time again.
Yes.
Mike was born, in Brooklyn, New York. I love you know what? Like, I love Italians and I love Sicilian, those from Sicily. Like, it just seems like the fabric of our country has been built on those are immigrated from Italy.
Well, I can tell you my father was true Jewish.
Jewish? Okay.
Yes, the truest. He was, him and Gigi, my grandmother Gigi, were absolutely inspiring, and so he was a pivoting point in my life.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's even actually hard to see him in a photo right now.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well,
No.
I'll read and then we'll get past the photo.
Okay, that's fine.
But one of my natural questions when you were in Dothan, well, here's the answer. And I was going to ask you, well, how did you get to Dothan? Well, it says after attending Columbia, Mike and his family moved to Dothan, chasing a dream of owning a radio station. As a radio station owner, Mike, a.k.a. Dr. Jive, and his family brought rock and roll to the South. Mike was also a concert promoter, owned the Southeast franchise of Budget Rental Car, was given a master's in donutology when he owned a Mr. Donut franchise, and even dabbled in the unfinished furniture business with a hardware store aptly named Mighty Mike's Hardware. There's the name, right? You put your name in your business. In the late 1990s, Mike reinvented himself again, becoming an executive recruiter in a new thing called cable television. His gut, again, was right on. He moved to Denver and formed Media Management Resources, which became the nation's preeminent retained search firm in building the executive ranks of cable and telephone companies like Time Warner and AT&T, to name a few. And he went on to, from that came Intelligent Management Solutions, delivering interim executives on assignments. We'll stop there. Well, that when I read that, I'm like, well, if you ever wonder where the entrepreneurial spirit comes from, that's your father.
Yes, my dad.
And that seems
But there is a story.
I'm sure there is. And please, if you want, tell it.
So I grew up, my mother got pregnant with me at a wedlock with my father. And it's this short story was that I was supposed to be given up for adoption in Flint, Michigan. She decided to bring me back home. So I grew up majority of my life as a child without him in it. And I was not, and then I think I was in maybe my junior year in college. Kind of a weird accident happened where there was a huge flood that came through, and I was living with my grandmother at the time. I was going to school. I was driving from Dothan to Geneva County, outside of Hartford, Alabama, every single night. So I would probably get home at 10, 11 o'clock at night. She would cook me something to eat. I would get up in the morning, go to work, go to school. It was like the same thing. I was just determined to do something with my life. I didn't have the answers, and I knew I wasn't like my mother's side of the family. There was just something missing. It was that little piece that was missing in my life, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but I knew I needed something. So I'm the only female on my mother's side of the family with a college degree and a business. So, but you don't think of it at that time. You don't think about that. That doesn't go through your mind. What you want to do is you want to survive. You want to try to eat and sleep and study and work. That's basically my life. But there was a flood. I couldn't get home. I stayed with my aunt, and she says, "Carla, is it time for you to meet your father?" And I said, "Well, I mean, why not, right? I mean, if it doesn't go well, I mean, at least I know I'm okay, right? I mean, I'm stabilizing my life. I knew what I wanted in my life, and I always do. Like, I am a straight shooter. I don't know balls about it, right? And so she knew somebody that contacted him, and then I got a phone call from him from Denver. He was in Denver, Cherry Creek in Denver, Colorado, and he made contact with me. The first time we met was during Memorial Day weekend. It was so happened that they had just bought a house in Gulf Breeze, Florida. I drove down there for the whole weekend. It was the first time I ever met him, and it was undeniable. It was like, it was meant. I cannot express how the feeling when I first met him. It was like I knew that I belonged. Like I knew there was that missing element, and he was that key. And he was just a wonderful, 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 wonderful person. He was when I needed him the most, and he was. He would call me stubborn. Over the years, he was like, "You're so stubborn," or he was always that person. And I was a Southern girl. I spoke really fast when I was Southern, and he would like, "Okay, Carla, it's time to slow it down." Pronounce your words. And I'm like, Dad, I'm still going to be me. So but he was a true inspiration on why my business is where it's at today.
Yeah, that was so like early 90s, right? You said you were 22 or 23.
Yes, that was early 90s. It was before I graduated. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was only here for a very short time.
Really?
Not long enough. Yeah. He died when he was 67, and that was the heartbreak for me. So
he had esophageal cancer, right?
He had esophageal cancer, yes, sir.
Yeah. Cancer is just
Yeah. Now